Okay, hi class. So in today's makeup, we will talk about Unit 11A, especially about present perfect and past simple, or present perfect versus past simple. So I want to make sure that before I begin explaining further about present perfect versus past simple, I want to make sure that you've already done the exercise that I assigned you, which is on Padlet, and it is based on our activity in exercise 1B of unit 11A. Okay, because if you haven't, you can pause this video and you can start doing it now. You can go to the Padlet. This is the Padlet page, padlet.com/zil_ge611a1b, or you can just scan this QR code. Okay, so basically that activity is taken from this one, the vocabulary collocations. It's important to expand your vocabulary and understand the collocations, like this one, have a car accident, and so on and so forth. Okay, all right. Now we will talk about present perfect and past simple. Well, we've learned, I forgot on which unit, but yeah, several weeks ago we've learned about present perfect, and I already gave you a clue or a hint about how it is different from past simple and when to use it. But in this section, in this session, we will talk about it further. Okay, so without further ado, here we go. All right. So yeah, here we will talk about present perfect versus past simple. And as usual, when we talk about tenses, I will refer to Betty Ezer's book, English Understanding and Using English Grammar, 4th edition. If you want to buy it, you can buy it, because it's a very good grammar book, very thorough, and it has lots of exercises. So I really recommend you using this book. So what will we learn today? What's our menu for today? First of all, of course, we will review the present perfect tense that we've learned, so that you can reminisce, or you can remember again about what we've learned so far. And then we will learn how to use just, yet, still, and already, and where do we put them in a sentence in present perfect tense. And finally, how to know when to use present perfect tense and past simple. So let's do the review. But before we go further on the present perfect, let's review what a tense is. Well, tense itself is derived from Latin, and it means time. To be exact, in the linguistic terminology, when we talk about tenses, based on Oxford dictionaries, tense is a set of forms taken by a verb to indicate the time, and sometimes also the continuance or completeness of the action in relation to the time of the utterance. Okay, so let me remove it first. Okay, so yeah, tense is a set of forms taken by a verb, so it's very clear that tenses, they only affect verbs in a sentence, and it indicate the time, and also it can indicate the aspects of the sentence. The aspects are continuance or completeness. When we talk about continuance of the event, which means that the event is not finished yet, it's not completed yet, we use continuous tense. But when it's complete, we use the perfect tense. And the time itself, the time of the action or the time of the event, is in relation to the time of utterance. And from this we will see that there are 3 times that we use the past, the present, and the future. They are all in relation to the time of utterance. So when I talk about past, it happened before I talk about it. When it is future, it's not happened yet during the time I utter the sentence. Okay, so in brief, we can say that tenses are used to express time and aspect of a sentence. So we can use this equation, time plus aspects equals to verb tenses. Let's talk further about the time and the aspects. Now, remember, when we talk about tenses, we talk about the time in relation to the time of utterance. So here we have the time of utterance. Okay. When we talk about past, it is before the time of utterance. When we talk about present, it's around the time of utterance. So it's valid when I say the sentence or when I talk about it. For example, we are studying present perfect tense. At the moment of speaking, we are still studying. You study English in LBIFIBUI. That's present. Past, for example, I met my high school friend last week. So it happened in the last week. That's how time affects the verb. Now, how the aspects of the situation in the sentence affect the verbs? Previously, we see that how time affects the verb. Oh yeah, when it is past, we use past verb or verb 2, usually we say it. Present verb, usually we call it verb 1. Infinitive and verb plus s. The future verb itself is will plus be going to. Of course, we've learned that these forms of the verbs are not really strict. They can be fluid, especially when we talk about future, because in the previous units we already learned how we can even use present continuous to express the future. But yeah, these are the basic verbs that we use in each time. Now, for the aspect itself, there are 4 aspects to explain the event in the sentence. The first one is simple. Well, the simple one, basically there is no aspect, only the time that affect the verb itself. So that's why we call it simple, because it's the simplest one. The completion is irrelevant when we talk about simple tenses. There's usually one event that we talk about, and it can be repetitive. For example, I worked yesterday, or I went to school every day. The context there, when I said I went to school every day, even though I said every day, but I use simple past, I went. The reason is that because I no longer go to school now, so the context of me going to school is in the past because I've graduated now. That's why I said that it can be repetitive. Every day is repetitive from Monday to Friday. Alright, that's simple past, and then we have simple present, we have simple future. When the event is incomplete or it's still continuing, we call this aspect as continuous, and it will change the verb into be plus verb ing. The be will be transformed into several forms based on the time. For example, if it is the past, we use was were. If it is present, we use am is are. If it is future, we just use be, because we have the modal will there, so it doesn't change at all. But the main verb is always verb ing. So as you see there, and there are usually 2 events, because we have to understand the point of view, the event that's becoming the point of view on which the main event is incomplete. For example, I was working at 9 this morning. So the point of view is at 9 this morning. And at 9, I was still working, and my work was not finished yet. I'm working right now. So the utterance time is the same as the event itself. So at the moment of speaking, now, at this very moment, I am working. Okay, that's continuous or progressive. Next, we have the one without the specific time, the unspecified time. We have the perfect and perfect continuous. We use perfect when we talk about completed event. For example here, I had finished when you arrived. So this is when you arrived, and this is where I did the work, or I did whatever I did at the time, and I had finished when you arrived. So you see here we talk about 2 different events, and one event occurred before the other one. And this other one is the point of view. Now let's see the present perfect. I have finished by now. So I have finished means that I did the work before now, but in relation to the moment when I say the sentence, in relation to this moment. That's why we use present perfect. Or okay, for example, my friend asked me to go to the cafeteria, or let's go to the canteen, and I reply, I'm sorry, I've eaten. So I indicated that I've eaten. Why do I use present perfect? Because I'm still full when I say I've eaten, which means maybe I don't want to go to the canteen. That's when we use the present perfect. So it's still related to now, to the present, even though it's already happened. That's present perfect. But okay, we will talk about the differences with the past simple later. Okay, and the fourth aspect is perfect continuous. In perfect continuous, we use have been plus verb ing. In perfect, we use have plus verb 3. The one that is changed because of the time is the have. So as you see there, the past perfect we use had, present perfect we use have or has, future perfect we use have. Perfect continuous we use have been plus verb ing. When we use perfect continuous, we focus more on the duration. Okay, so remember there are 4 aspects. We have the simple aspect, continuous aspect, perfect aspect, and perfect continuous. Now let's talk further about the present perfect. Is a review. Okay, here's present perfect tense. Look at the examples here. I take it from Ezra's book. Mrs. O has been a teacher since 2002. Okay, this is the timeline for example A. So from 2002 up to now, and it's still going, Mrs. O has been a teacher. I've been in this city since last May. So from last May until today, I live here in the city. We've been here since 9 o'clock. Yeah, so it's similar. Rita knows Rob. They met 2 months ago. She's known him for 2 months. I met him 3 years ago. I've known him for 3 years. Okay, Rita knows Rob. They met 2 months ago. She's known him for 2 months because we measure it from the moment they first met, which is 2 months ago. In this case, we use the present perfect. I met him 3 years ago. I've known him for 3 years. So you see here that the present perfect is often used with since or and for to talk about situations that began in the past and continue up to now, when we use since and for. So we have this time frame. Remember, when we use since, we use it with a specific point in time, because when we use since, we talk about the first time it happened, since 2002. But when we use for, we use it with the length of time. Now is 2020, so 2002 to 2020, it's 18 years. For 18 years. So for example A here, we can say Mrs. O has been a teacher for 18 years, to replace since 2002, and they are the same. The present perfect can talk about events that have or haven't happened before now. The key point here is that the exact time of the event is unspecified. That's one thing that we should highlight. The exact time of event is unspecified. Have you ever seen snow? No, I haven't. I've never seen snow, but Anna has seen snow. When? It doesn't matter. Because we talk about any time in the past until now. Have you or have you not seen any snow? Okay. So it can be 5 years ago, it can be 10 years ago, it can be yesterday. It doesn't matter. Have you finished your homework yet? Oh, I still haven't finished mine. Jack has already finished his. No matter when I finished it, is it yesterday, 2 days ago, 1 minute ago? But by now, Jack has already finished his, and I still haven't. The adverbs ever, never, yet, still, and already are often used with the present perfect, like this one. We'll talk about it further later, yeah? Now you can see the situation here for F and G. In F, the event is seeing snow. The time frame is from the beginning of their lives up to now. Okay, the one that I highlighted here. In G, event is doing homework. The time frame from time the people started up to now. All right. Next, we also use present perfect tense when we talk about the event that has occurred repeatedly from a point in the past up to the present time. So it's repeated from a point in the past up to the present time, and it may happen again. Look at the example here. We've had 3 tests so far this term. So we talk about from the beginning of the term up to now. And there are already 3 tests. Okay. And these are how we contract, the contracted form of have and has. Like this. Yeah, be careful with the has, yeah, because the contracted form is similar as is. So we can see the difference from the verb used. When we say he's there, so it is the verb, so it means is. because there's no verb there. He's been there. We have verb 3 here, been. So the apostrophe s here is he has, not he is. Okay. Now, previously I talked about using just, yet, still, and already. Look at this example to see how they are used. I've just seen Sai, or Sai. He's really enjoying his new job. We haven't decided what to do yet. I still haven't called Yumi to see how she is. I've already had lunch, but I'll join you for coffee. Look how we use it. Look where in the sentence we use them. So as you see here, when we use just and already, we use it in between the have or has with the verb 3, with the past participle. We use it in between. Okay? So it will be like have, and we have past participle, and in between we can use either just or already. I've just seen Sai. So it means that when we use the word just, it means that it's happened just a few moments ago. I've already had lunch. Already means that, yeah, it already happened. When we use yet, it means that it's not happened. That's why yet is always used with negative. Still, when we use still, we use it before the have plus verb 3. Okay? We often use just, yet, still, and already with the present perfect because they are related to the present moment. So I think that's the key, yeah? When we talk about present perfect, just like what we've discussed at the beginning, when I talked about the tenses overview, it's present because they are related to the present moment. Just used with the present perfect means a short time before, and it comes between the auxiliary verb have has and the past participle. Yeah, it always comes in between. Like this. Yet means at any time up to now, and we use it to emphasize while we expect something to happen soon. And it's only used in negative sentences and questions. So we cannot use it for affirmative. And it comes at the end of the sentence or question. Have you finished your homework yet? I haven't finished yet. He hasn't arrived yet. So it's always at the end of the sentence. Still used with the present perfect means that something hasn't happened. We use it to emphasize that we expected the thing to happen earlier. Okay, so when we use yet, we expect it to happen soon. When we use still, we expected the thing to happen earlier. So it's negative. The expectation is negative. That's why we use it only in negative sentences. And it comes between the subject and the auxiliary verb. The bus still hasn't come. So it's not hasn't still come or hasn't come still. You cannot say that. Still hasn't come. They still haven't finished it. She still hasn't replied to my email. Now what about already? Already used with the present perfect means before now. So it's the emphasis of the present perfect itself. We use it to emphasize that something happened before something else or earlier than expected. And like just, it comes between the auxiliary and the main verb, or at the end of the clause. So we can use it at the end of the clause as well. I've already spent my salary. I've already seen it. The trains left already. So we can say the trains already left or the trains left already. It's the same. So when we use just, we just use it in between the auxiliary verb have, has, and the past participle. But already we can use it at the end of the clause or in between the auxiliary and the main verb. Now, what about present perfect with past simple? Okay, let's go back to this explanation. Okay, I highlighted before that when we use the present perfect, the exact time of the event is unspecified. Okay, so take a look at example F. Have you ever seen snow? So it means that from the beginning of my life up to now, if I said no, I haven't seen snow, so I haven't. But if I said, for example, oh yes, I have, I've seen it several times. Well, of course, I saw the snow in the past. But in that sentence, I've seen snow. I use present perfect because I talk about it in relation to the time of utterance, in relation to now. No matter when I saw it, I have seen it. So the exact time is unspecified. What happens if you specify the time? When you specify the time, you cannot use present perfect. For example, you want to mention the time. Yeah, I saw the snow. I saw it 2 years ago when I was in the US, for example. When you use the time few years ago, it indicates that you refer back to the past. You refer back to the specific time, not in relation to the present. So now take a look at this conversation. I've heard a lot of good things about Professor Stevens, but I haven't taken any of her classes. Have you? Yes, I took one of her classes last year. I loved it. Okay, I've heard a lot. So, unspecified time. Maybe he heard it few months ago, last week, or several times repetitive. But I haven't taken. So from the beginning of his study in the university until the moment of utterance, he hasn't taken any of her classes. Have you? So he asked her, have you ever taken it? Oh yes, I took one last year. So you see here, when the person uses the specific time, the tenses used is simple past. Yes, I took one of her classes last year. I loved it. It refers back to the time she took the class. Okay. Present perfect is used to talk about past events when there is no specific mention of time. Speakers talking about some unspecified time before now. I've met Linda, but I haven't met her husband. Have you met them? So, from the past until today, he has met Linda, but he hasn't met her husband or she. But when we use simple past, there is a specific mention of time. The speaker is thinking of a specific time. I met Helen yesterday at a party. Her husband was there too, but I didn't meet him. Okay? So please notice, when we use present perfect, it's still related to today. I've met Linda from the past up to now. I haven't met her husband. So from the past up to now, he or she hasn't met the husband. But when we talk about, when we use past simple, I met Helen yesterday. So it's only about yesterday. This is the point of view. While in present perfect, the point of view is on now line, the time of utterance. There's a difference between present perfect and simple past. Okay? Present perfect is used for situations that began in the past and continue to the present, especially when we use since and for. Like this one. Sam has been a teacher for 10 years. He loves teaching. So from 10 years ago until today, Sam has been a teacher. Jim was a teacher for 10 years. Oh, it also uses for. However, it began and it ended in the past from 95 to 2005, and he changed his career from a teacher to salesman. So simple past is used for situations that began and ended in the past. So it's no longer valid in the current time. There's a difference between present perfect and past simple. Now, let's try these exercises. Let me give you some time. Okay, let's talk about it. Fatima is from a hot, arid part of her country. Okay, so we see we have the word see and never here. So she's from a hot, arid part. So she must, I believe that she never sees snow. Now we have to use which one? Simple past or present perfect? Because it's from, maybe from she was born until today. She's never seen snow, so we use present perfect. So we say she has never seen snow. Okay. Last January. Look at the point of view here. And the point of view is last January, so it's in the past. So I saw snow for the first time in my life. Last night. So we have the time, the specific time as point of view. So we use simple past. So we went to a show. Since classes began, so we use since here. So from the classes began until now. So we use present perfect. And the verb is have. I have plus verb 3. The verb 3 of have is had. I have had. Oh, sorry. We have the negative here. Let me erase it first. Okay. I haven't had much free time. Ming won blah 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 in this class for 3 months. His English is getting better and better. So we see here that we're the sentence here is using present continuous, so it means that it's from 3 months ago until now. From 3 months ago. So we use present perfect. Mingwon has been in this class for 3 months. Mrs. Perez blah 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 in our class for 3 months. Okay, we use for here just like number 5. Now let's take a look for the time indicator or the time context. But then she left school to get a job. Okay, so Mrs. Perez in our class for 3 months. This is 3 months in our class. And then she left school. And this is now. So from this timeline we see that it began and it ended in the past. So we use the past tense, was. Mrs. Perez was in our class. Next. Late breaking news. Okay. A major earthquake. The first sentence has no specific time. So we use the past perfect here. has just occurred. Yeah, has just occurred. Now it blah 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 at 9:25 a.m. PST. So now the sentence mentioned the time, so it became the past tense. It occurred okay. I admit that I blah 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 older since I last. Okay, no other time indicator in the sentence at all, so we have to use present perfect here. So we can use I've got or I've gotten is the same. Okay, I've gotten older since I last. So when we use since, the adverb since, we talk about one specific point in the past, so we always use past tense in the clause with since. Since I last saw you. But with any luck at all, now it refers back it refers back to the present. With any luck at all, so yeah, from the last I saw you, I've gotten older, and also I've gotten wiser. We use the present perfect. Yeah, I have also have gotten wiser. Are you taking chemistry 101 this semester? No. Okay, we have already here, so we use present perfect. No, I've already taken it. Right, blah 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 last semester, we have the time, specific time, so we turn to past tense. I took it last semester. Greg Adams? Yes, I know him. Okay. I blah 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 him since college. So since college until today, we use I've known him. Joe North passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. When we were in college, so it's past. Yeah, I knew him well. All right, so that's all about present perfect and simple past. So remember, when we have the specific time, we use simple past. When we don't have any specific time, we use present perfect. Okay, I hope that you get it clear, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.